Today. Good. Some of you, I noticed the hands raising, but I've been here once before, and I thought that people are like insider junkies, like media post junkies. So if you've been here once, I guarantee you'll come again. It's such a good time. Again, my name is KathrynDavidson, and I'm going to back up a little bit, sorry about that. I'm going to talk about rooting strategies and customer obsession. This really is a paradigm shift for Ancestry. And I'll take you on a journey of how, over the past 30 years, again, as Steve mentioned, we really became a company that had to change who we were, right? From print advertising into digital channels with a lot of technology debt. Sometimes I'm so envious of companies that are like newly startups because you don't have those technology challenges of databases or moving into the cloud, things of those nature. So I'll go a little bit about over those, and I'll get a little bit about who I am. So I'm KathrynDavidson. I'm the Director of Marketing and CRM Operations. I've been with Ancestry for 11 years. And to some of you, that's probably like, oh my gosh, that's the death of not moving a company every 18 months or 3 years. But in my role, as Stephen mentioned, I've been able to grow up with the company. And it's been really exciting for me. Every 3 years or so, I have a new challenge and a new role. And actually, since engaging with Media Post and talking about coming on, I really thought I was going to be a panel speaker. That's what I was shooting for. And unfortunately, I'm up here main stage doing the keynote on the first day instead of what I thought was going to be the second day. But excited to be here. A little bit about Ancestry. You guys are probably all familiar. If you haven't seen our TV ads, I thought I'd share a little bit about you with my ethnicity so you can get to know me a little bit better. We recently did an update, but it shortens who I am. I become much less who I think I am and a lot more Scottish, and so I went with the old results and didn't update the results. Again, since engaging with Media Post, I actually have taken a new role at Ancestry. I'm now the Director of Marketing of Emerging Businesses. That's really new to me. But this is where I've been rooted for the past 6 years, is in this story of customer journeys. And so join me in this. And then the biggest thing about why I've been with Ancestry for 11 years is really about this passion for working for a company. When anyone ever asks me why I still work at Ancestry or they're doing a job interview, I always tell them it's because our product really does change people's lives. There's nothing better than working at a conference last weekend where people come in and tell you, oh my gosh, I found my father's World War II draft card, or they make that connection of who they are through a DNA test finding family members. A little bit about Ancestry. Some of you may not know, again, as Stephen mentioned, Ancestry's been around for 30 years from a publishing company, but we are the world's largest genomic database company. We are also the largest genealogy family history company with 3 million paying subscribers. We have 20 billion records. Of those 20 billion records, 10 billion of those records are historical records, and the other 10 billion are from user-generated content of people adding in things to their family trees. So that's a little bit about us as Ancestry. Over the past year and years, as we've been defining our company over the last 30 years, we recently came up with a new mission. And a lot of you, as you're defining your brands, may come up with new ways of what your mission is. We empower journeys of personal discovery to enrich lives. And what that means is internally is we took that into our internal groups, and every group is the customer facing, but we've tweaked that a little bit in our lifecycle marketing. And we're fueling customer curiosity through a guided and consistent experience of personal discovery. And what we're trying to tell people with this personal discovery is it's you coming to our site, but it's you finding that story about yourself, that you might have to come in and do a little bit of work is kind of what we're trying to tell you, that it's not, it's hard being a brand that you might see our TV commercial and you might see Kyle on there and he's telling you he was wearing a kilt, but now I think he has lederhosen or something of that nature. But family history is hard. You have to come in and do the research, and so that's why we're trying to tell you that it's a personal discovery. And a little bit about our mission and how we got to our values. Last year, we had a new CEO come in. Her name was Margot Georgiadis. She came into the company, and it seemed like over the past couple of years, we were still trying to find who we were. Are we a family history company? Are we a DNA company? Are we a personal discovery company? And so we met with an agency. Margot brought in an agency, came in and interviewed all 1,600 employees, or a sampling of the 1,600 employees and some of our customers. And we came up with these values, these 3 values that we're rooted in. And these are not values that are externally faced out to the marketplace. I know that some companies do that, like a Zappos, but these are for internal, being customer obsessed, pioneering, relentlessly, and empowering each other. And it's just to focus and really break down the silos and barriers within our own departments, between marketing and product and customer service, is that we all have the goal of being customer obsessed. And that's what I'm focusing on today. And what we need to understand through data is deeply understanding our customers through data and insights, and that's where the journey I'll take you on today. What I hope to do is tell you a little bit about the challenges that Ancestry faced, what we put in place as the solve, and then the results that we've seen from them. And so here's the challenges that we've faced at Ancestry, airing a little bit of our dirty laundry. So there's 2 ways to perceive the customer experience. Changing the customer experience paradigm. And that, again, when we talked about coming in, finding our new values, at the same time that Margot came in, I had a new leader come in of the senior director of CRM, and he had this idea that we needed to change the paradigm of how we were focusing on our customers, from the top of the funnel to being a customer destination view. A lot of times, as we changed this view and we talked about top of the funnel, a lot of it had to do with our data. We were very much focused on what data we had. We had data about that was financial data. I know who you were if you registered with me. I knew who you were if you had paid money to me. I knew if you had purchased a DNA kit. But the steps that we were taking in this journey really were come in the door, have you give us money once, and then have you give us money again, is kind of what we were doing. And we were changing that paradigm into a customer destination view, which is where we were becoming more insights-based. We were coming with coordinated audience segments. We were focusing on the customer, on what the needs were for them as they were coming into our door. What were they focusing on? Were they there for DNA, or were they there for their family history? We weren't going to be prescriptive to them, but let them kind of tell us the journey that they needed based on the data that we could gather from them on how they were interacting with the site, and then give them the next best step, versus just giving them this very linear, come in, take a free trial. If you didn't take a free trial, take a DNA kit, or vice versa. If you came in, took a DNA test, let's give you a free trial. Animation is always a really good idea until you get up on stage. But bear with me, there might be more animation than I had intended for. So this is how Ancestry was focused a little bit internally. Again, I talked about the top of the funnel. We have, your SEO, again, the people that you're doing, and then we're talking about the conversion event. And is the conversion event something, is it a registration? Is it having them give money? Your conversion event can be lots of things in your world. It doesn't necessarily have to be how ours is. But what we were coming in with, as I speed through the animation, is that we were all there to get Ancestry, get a customer into the door, but we were very segmented and siloed even within our product. We had marketing doing one thing, which was the education and presenting the next best offer, which we thought was the next best offer. We had product telling you how to build your tree, and then we had customer service, supporting you with billings and transactions. But the customer never thinks of you as in different departments or different silos, right? They think of you as one. They think of you as one unit. They don't think of us as Ancestry product marketing or Ancestry marketing. They think of us as Ancestry. And they don't care how we do this, but we sometimes get in our own way through our own internally philosophical ways of getting to the next best thing for the customer. This is just a visualization of when I talked about Ancestry grew up through the past 30 years, and you have a lot of technology debt. Well, you had a lot of things that were in silos. Our data, a couple years ago before I took this role as Director of Marketing Operations, I had siloed data in one engine, and then I would only have my financial data, and then I would send it off of pretty much a brain that did my email, but then I would just send it out of another platform, and then everything had to come into a data warehouse, and then it would be 48 hours delayed. And so this is kind of a representation of our org, and later on I'll kind of show you, focus in on where we've changed over the past few years. I talked a little bit because of that organization and about the data that we had. This is really how we operated. It took us 48 hours to get real-time data about a customer. And I think some of you might have some of those same pains, or maybe you're all so new that you're kind of like, oh no, we're way up and fresh and we're using such and such a vendor and they do it for us. But this is a real problem that Ancestry was having. And a lot can change in our customers in 48 hours, and a lot did change with our customers in 48 hours. 13% of all registrations started within 48 hours. That means someone was coming to our site and changing their stage from a registrant to a free trialer to a DNA purchaser within that 48 hours. Actually, probably within the first day or within the first session, but I didn't know until 48 hours later. And that was a real problem for us because it was a confusing journey to the customer the next time they got a communication from us, whether it was in social or in Instagram or in their email, is they'd already kind of gone through those steps, but we were lagged. So next phase after airing the dirty laundry of where we were is coming down and breaking down the silos and putting the customer first. And this is really the lifecycle team's story of how what we did to solve our own problems. We went out, and the first thing that we did is, and we talked about the customer and each department doing their own little thing. But at Ancestry, we decided to break down some walls, and we went out and we partnered with people and product. Every company might have different divisions of how you do things, but at Ancestry, for years, marketing was in charge of talking to the customer. And as we were changing and growing and evolving, product wanted to come in and do something similar. And so we really had to work together and partner, because again, when you talk about the customer, they don't know who's talking to them, so you have to be customer obsessed and talk to them all in one. And so we really came down and talked about three things: our data foundation, our activation, and our reporting and analytics. And we focused on three things. Really one of the things. We came up with a customer 360, and that was to really what we call the CDP, and that was to get that real-time data that I talked to you about. That was getting those insights from Adobe Analytics or Google Analytics real time so that we could talk to the customer in minutes versus 48 hours. We decided to go with Salesforce Marketing Cloud as our CRM engine instead of having multiple data sources out there. We partnered with Salesforce, and the key point here for us was that we needed to have flexibility in our platforms, and Salesforce with all their APIs were able to do that for us. And the last thing that we did in our reporting and analytics is we became a multi-touch marketing attribution, and we were gathering those data and insights back and forth. We used to be a last-click attribution model, and through some of our insights and partnerships, we were able to get to multi-touch and focus on a couple of these key things. And so this was our transformation. So as you can see before, we had these multiple steps, and then after partnering with the CDP and Salesforce Marketing Cloud, customers were receiving things in minutes. So now I knew if a customer had purchased a DNA kit. I knew if they had taken a free trial. And then the next messaging that they received from us wasn't so confusing or lagged or seemed a little bit delayed or late. It was, we got to choose when was the next best phase for the customer, because the customer is telling us what they were interested in through the data. And this is what our unified customer journey map looks like across Ancestry now. I showed you before it was really about marketing and product and then member services. And we took this view of this of the customer and allowed the customer to come in from any funnel that they wanted. We shifted the paradigm and we talked about the customer. And we're allowing them to flow in and out based on what's going on and what product they might be in and how we're educating and researching them. Also in our cycle, people get stuck, and so you have to re-engage them. And we just kind of came up with what we thought was a fluid approach based on the customer. And these are some things that we did in life cycles. We came up with, and partnering with our product team, we came up with ways to become customer-centric. I talked about Margot at the beginning. She came in and said we need to be customer-obsessed, that this was who we were. And so we took a step back at our journey and took away our KPIs of just sending the next best offer or trying to get the revenue. And though those are one of our KPIs, we started with the curiosity and the education. We just wanted engagement. We wanted people to come in and engage more with our product. And then once they understood our product, we would get to that result. We would get to the finances. But we didn't push it as the number one thing. And as you can see in later slides, I'll show you the uptick on our performance. So as we talked about, and again, this is one of those times when you're like, oh, the animations. We talked about the top of the funnel, and everyone can come in, but now through the funnels, through SEO or how people are searching for us, we allow them to come in. They can get started with us just educating, building a tree. They can start a free trial. They can set up an account. But our messaging, again, through our data that we were able to capture and working with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, everyone is unique. They can have their own journey. They can start with education, or they can start with building a tree, or they can start with a renewal or upsell offers. But we're trying to treat everyone as an individual and then scale that. And this is how customers are responding to our new approach. So in fueling curiosity, I talked about we weren't caring about KPIs that were revenue in general, but about having people engaged. 50% of unique clicks to product experiences have increased. We had 9% increase in unique opens. We had 22% year over year in product engagement. And then we've had quarter over quarter for the last 4 quarters, we've been seeing growth and engagement within our product. And then on our timely offers, a little bit about that. We felt like this change in this paradigm shift of top of the funnel and just offering offers really resulted in education. And now we feel like we've earned the right for customers that we can cross-sell them into different products because they're learning more about who we are and they want to be a part of the Ancestry family. So we've seen 53% year over year in new subscriptions and 16% year over year in subscription upgrades. And here are a couple examples that I'll go over of this brand and this idea of direct-to-consumer marketing.
Dear great-grandfather, you were persecuted and forced to flee the country of your birth, but you started a new life in a brand new world. When I built my Ancestry family tree, I found your story. Then, my DNA test helped me reclaim the Portuguese citizenship you lost. I'm Joshua Berry, and this is my Ancestry story.
So in our TV ads, we started showing our product a little bit more and showing how the tree was being built. But that off-brand, where we had the gap in years previously is we had a lot of TV ads out there, but our customer communications that were next step weren't keeping up with the brand of the TV and things of that nature. And so we created a TV to customer onboarding experience. We were tying third-party data with our own data to create education, especially from TV. And not all of our creative in our emails and our ads have to match the exact creative on TV, but it's the story that we're telling. We're telling people that they can educate, to come in and get more search tips. We created in our emails a way that walks you through what the messaging that you were seeing in the brand and the TV is that you come in, you start your family tree, you explore, and then you search your historical records to find that Portuguese citizenship and that passport that you needed. The other thing that we noticed as we partnered and broke down those silos between product and member services on the slide that I showed earlier is in our research and having conversations with member services, we realized that 60% of our contacts to member services were driven from that confusion that the customer was experiencing. And so we integrated key things in our emails for member services to decrease the amount of contacts that we were getting. In driving discoveries, a little bit of talked about that data and that data latency and the power that we had. For years, we've had something on our site on Ancestry, is that you come in, you fill out your parents' grandfather, your great-grandfather, and then we were showing you this shaky leaf when we were showing you hints. And we had this really robust email that we would send you with 25 different variations from 5 different subjects, because that's what we could put in the email. That was the data that we had. And as we partnered with our CDP and with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, we've created a new experience in which we're sending the most relevant, and through data science, we took those 25 different variations, we did a scoring, and now we're sending you what we believe are the 5 most relevant hints. And we're sending them to the customers not only in email anymore, but we're sending them into the channel that they need in their app, on their phone. Come in, and it gets to that key of when we're trying them to come in and experience the product more with us. That's why we've had that increase and that 50% product engagement increase as we were reaching out to the customers. And the results are through this change and reaching out to the customer where they wanted to be reached, as we've had 30% increase in our hint views, 19% of our content views, and 8.3%. And that goes back to our second category that we were talking about, where we were really trying to get people to engage in our product and then let the next best offer come when the customer was ready to purchase for us. And this comes into the timely offers, earning the right to make the offer. I talked a little bit about we were trying to funnel people into DNA or family history or things of that nature. We just tested into, after people have taken our DNA test, we were sending them, they got their results, and we were sending them an offer the next day. We've just changed this, that 2 days after a customer receives their DNA results, we were educating them about the product. We were trying to help them discover what it is that you're looking at. Why am I 43% Irish? What is it that these matches are telling me? And so we were trying to educate them instead of just hard sell them into the subscription model. But then 2 days later, after educating them, we were delivering a personalized message to tell them to start their free trial and gain 30 days with us. And what the results that we've seen is we've seen 121% increase in free trial signups with 65% in subscriptions that it's hard offers. So those are people who are just bypassing the 30-day free trial and straight into a hard offer because we'd educated them and brought them along in the experience. And so some of the key principles that we've talked about that I would hope that you would take away from this is that the end goal of the experience isn't about when we were talking about our financial upsells and renewals, but it was really the next best step for the customer. We wanted to anchor the experience on insights-based moments, and that was where I was talking about we had whatever data we had that we came in, but through our CDP and through another way of finding customer data, we're sending them what's insights-based are best for them. And then you have to have flexibility in a platform that's able to scale for your business. We're never forcing monetization in our journey. We really feel like we're now trying to earn the privilege and the right to offer our customers a subscription with us or a DNA kit. The biggest takeaway, and I wish number 4 was actually number 1 for us, is that we're treating the customer that they only understand that Ancestry is one corporation, that they don't understand that we have different silos, that we have product and marketing that work independently, that we break down the silos internally and focus on the customer and be customer obsessed. And then define the customer journey based on chapters rather than funnel stages. That's not coming in and having them come in the top of the funnel and directing them to be the purchase that they want, but rather that they experience your product and they're taking the journey for you, that you show them what's next best for them. Thank you.
Very much. What a great start. We have time for questions throughout the next few days. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get the mic to you. Stan, tell us who you are and who you're with so we get to know you.
Good morning. My name is David McLean from Talaria. Handle connected TV, over the top, the inventory for Hulu, Sling, lots of others. My question is, And thank you for the presentation. What does retention mean for Ancestry in this situation? Because I imagine engagement with a product falls off at a certain time. How do you measure that? What does retention mean?
Yeah, retention to us is really making sure that we don't have a one and done product, that people don't come in and experience a free trial and not come back or experience the DNA. And so retention for us, and probably similar to other people in the room, is that if people can engage in the product, they'll end up coming back for what we call their terms. And if we can get customers to a tier 3 or a tier 5 that they've renewed 3 times, they will be a customer for life for us. Average that. We do have monetization against that. If we can get to a certain dollar amount, the average LTR for our company is quite high. And so we look at retention of from that standpoint. 13% of our people who free trialed, I showed that moment, probably 80% might abandon, or 50% might bill through afterwards. And so we have these moments, and it's really for our company, our metrics, but retention for us really is getting the customer to renew on that subscription to the next term. And then if we can get them after so many renewals, they'll be with us for a long time.
Hi, Kathryn. My name is Olivia. I'm with Whammo. I was just wondering about the controversial conversation that's been going around about DNA tests and insurance policies. I know that it's possible for insurance companies to request the DNA results if you have them. It's a law, right? So did you ever have to deal with any bad publicity about it or controversials about it? And how did you deal with this? And I had a second question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your advertising that I think one of the actors said, oh, and I was able to retrieve my citizenship, or like, oh, not citizenship, my historical, whatever, information. So did you work with any other countries, or did you plan to work with any other countries to provide any sort of, I don't know, insiders benefits or political benefits to people who have said 95% Irish roots? Would Irish government be some sort of inclined to be more open for, I don't know, easier procedure for citizenship potential? I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me start with the first one about insurance policies, and a lot of people have probably come out. DNA really has been in the news a lot. You hear about the Golden State Killer. You hear about DNA companies that are partnering with I don't even know how to say it, agencies, police departments and things of that nature. Ancestry has really taken a stand about customer privacy, and I talk about the customer obsession we have. When you come with us and you take our terms and conditions, it's all about privacy. You own your DNA, and we do not share it. We do not partner with insurance companies or pharmaceutical companies. We've made a stand in the industry that really the power of our DNA is to find your personal discovery about who you are, where you came from, and then combine that with historical records to tell your family story. So that is something that we came out with, and we are actually a leader in that. You can always go to Ancestry.com's privacy statements and kind of see where we're leading the privacy world. We are working, I believe, back with Washington on new policies for privacy. For that matter. And that's a stand that we've taken, and it might end up hurting us something financially, but it's, again, we wanted that customer obsession and the customer to be obsessed. And as long as your data is with us, it is your own. What you do with it afterwards is one thing. As for partnerships, no, we don't reach out, and that was just a story. That was that one individual's real customer story about what he did with our data. We aren't partnering outside with other agencies or other countries. On things of that nature. And again, that's because we are being customer focused, and that you own the right to your DNA and things of that nature.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Andrew Eklund with Cicerone. My question starts with my story, because everybody has those, right? So I grew up thinking I was 100% Swedish, very proud. I'm now 27% Norwegian, what the hell? And 1% Ashkenazi Jewish. Just like it completely changes your story. Even though it's 1%, it's become sort of the new, in your mind, it's like, wow, I need to know a lot more. So you have all these built-in trigger points, it seems to me. I just got an alert from you, I think yesterday, saying, hey, you have a new 4th cousin. And I find this fascinating, and I'm wondering how you're connecting the individual touch points of somebody's individual family tree with messaging. So that's one question. Then my second question then is, there's so much celebration around your discovering your identity. How do you measure that sort of virality, if you will, of the brand? Just people sharing their stories and generating new activities. I have to imagine there's so much earned conversions that happen just from families saying, well, I need to know more, and that you probably don't need to have giant ad budgets necessarily. It's just built in.
Yeah. So I'll take the first.
This is an ad agency guy saying that.
So, I know. So I'll take the first question about how we get hints and things of that nature. We don't ever target anyone based on their ethnicity. That's not something that we use. It really is about, and the reason that we have the largest consumer genomic database and the power that is behind it is really in the records and the family trees that power that. Ancestry just attended the Roots Tech Conference, and which is huge in the genealogy space. It was just last week, and we actually talked about 3 new products that we're launching, the Through Lines, and I'm going to miss up the other 2, so apologies. But that really, when you talk about that hint that you're receiving, through the DNA, we're connecting you genetically, but through the power of the tree, we're telling you the record of who it is that you match with, and that's how we're able to tell you, like, this is your 4th cousin. A lot of it is the power of the DNA, but in the product experience that we're developing is we are going to show you through the DNA that you don't have to guess anymore. We share the same common great-grandfather. We're going to show you that within the product. The second about the virality, our PR department would probably be really, earned media, things of that nature. Yeah, a lot of it is interesting, the story that you tell. I joke internally, Ancestry might be a really good thing for your family, or that DNA test might really unveil those secrets that you have. And people in this room probably understand that you could take a DNA test and find it, but there's this generation gap that the generation before us hasn't quite told us that story yet. And so some of it is word of mouth, family history. Some of it is people still not understanding that great-grandma's like, oh my gosh, I really did have a secret. I didn't know that that could come out. And so it's this fine balance of really being this personal discovery company and focusing on the customer.
KathrynDavidson, as always, thank you so much for a great start.